All right, APUSH people. Just coming at you with a real quick video here. Hopefully, it's real quick. You need to watch the period 6 videos. Get ready for your DBQ on Friday. You're going to have another one on Friday. Hopefully, I'll have all the feedback ready for you by then. I hope you've all gone through your feedback that I've sent you. I sent each and every one of you a Word file attached to a school loop mail with the DBQ rubric, kind of a simplified rubric that I kind of uh, got together so that we can kind of cut out some of the language, the redundant language, and hopefully that gave you a little bit of idea of what you need to work on. First, I want to address Jennifer's extra credit question. She asked a good one. Why did they pass the Fugitive Slave Act yet abolish the slave trade in D.C.? Why did they contradict each other? That's a good question. Oh, it was a compromise. The compromise of 1850 had stuff in it that both sides didn't like, and it was mostly stuff both sides didn't like. Obviously, the South liked the Fugitive Slave Act. Um, the thing you got to remember is Washington D.C. was a southern town. It was built on land that belonged to both Virginia. Well, I think it was mostly land that belonged to Virginia. But remember, Maryland is also a southern state. So think of Washington D.C. as a kind of a mix between Maryland and Virginia, both southern slaveholding states. That was kind of a uh, something that was a compromise for the North, was abolishing the slave trade in Washington D.C., which again was a southern town. Um, it gave the North the feeling that they had gotten something out of it, and at least slaves weren't being sold in the nation's capital. That was a pretty bad look for those in the North who saw themselves as abolitionists, to have slave auctions actually happening there in the town of Washington, D.C., which they had been doing so prior to the Compromise of 1850. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. Let's quickly move on to the rubric. I just want to point out to you guys something that almost no one is doing that you absolutely have to do. Um, well, two things that I want to highlight. One is the fact that you have to use the documents in support of an argument. If you're not doing that, you're not going to get credit for that document, for using that document. You can't just describe the document. You have to describe it and then relate it to your argument. So take the reader through the process. Okay? And when I get up on the whiteboard and I take you guys through thought processes, doing Venn diagrams and T charts and things like that, okay? Or when we used to do our tug of war. Okay, that's the kind of process you need to take the reader through. All right. The other thing, and I really really want to focus on this for your next DBQ, is using the HIP analysis on at least two of the documents. So when you look at the documents, when you get it when you're taking the test in May on the 15th of May, when you get your set of documents, okay, read the prompt, figure out your claim, all right? Or before you do that, just look at the prompt and find the tug of war. What's the two sides that are going back and forth? So for instance, on the last prompt we had, the two sides would be nationalism and sectionalism. Like which one was more important? Um, so you go through the documents. You could have gone through the documents and just said, okay, this one's for sectionalism, this one's for nationalism, blah blah blah, and then count them up. Okay, most of them look like they are for nationalism. Okay, well now you can just make your claim that nationalism was the most important, or sectionalism if most of them had to do with sectionalism. All right, make a call, make a judgment call. If you can see both sides in one of them, try to figure out where the balance is and make a judgment call. And if the majority of the documents are for one or the other, that's what your claim should be. All right, and then take your reader through the process of how you got there. All right. So you need to do that with HIP analysis as well. You need to pick two of the documents that jump out at you as, okay, the point of view of this document's really interesting. In other words, John Quincy Adams in the document where he said, you know, the United States would be better off just going ahead and splitting up over slavery. Okay, well, okay, it's interesting because he's coming from the abolitionist point of view. Okay, and that plays a big part in it. Or it doesn't even have to be point of view. It could be historical context. It could be intended audience. It could be purpose. So, you know, look at the documents and which one jumps out at you to take one of those HIP analysis elements and explain how that element uh, uh, is relevant to that argument, or makes that argument relevant to your claim. Okay, so I really want you guys to you know, take your time this week and really look at the documents in terms of HIP analysis. All right, because that's something almost I don't think anyone did. One person I think made an attempt at it, and they did it with one document. Okay, that's better than nothing, but you got to do it for 2 documents or you don't get the points. All right. So make sure you watch this video and the 6 APUSH review videos, and you will have a DBQ on Friday. So all you got to do is watch the videos today and click yes, and you're good to go. All right. We will talk to you guys on Friday. Bye.